Okay, I'm just going to quickly go over what's going to be on the test in terms of the format that I'm looking for. If you go to the website, you can see all the content and things of that nature. Things I just want you to remember, for example, if we're doing a number line, so let's say I have the numbers 28, 37, and 98. When I'm trying to make my number line for those, I kind of want to look at my multiples of 10 and where things fall between. So in terms of a range, 28 is my lowest number, 98 is my highest number, so I'm probably going to want to do my number line between 0 and 100. And when you have 0 and 100, then you know right away that your midpoint is 50, that this point's 25, and that this point's 75. So in terms of approximating where these numbers go, these help you in terms of placement. So this is 25, well I have 28, so 28 is going to be right after it. Our next number is 37. Well, 37 is about halfway between these two numbers, so here's my 37. And then finally 98 is going to be really close to 100, so here's my 98. So that's about the amount of detail I'm looking for in terms of your approximation when we're on a number line. Okay, next thing we want to take a look at is just showing with multiple ways. And I'm going to do a whole number example to begin. So if we look at multiple ways, we've talked about things like the algorithm, which is like the kind of the traditional method of adding or subtracting. And then we talked about different ways. So for example, if I'm looking at 20 minus 5, if we were to do the algorithm, which would be method 1, I would put my 20 over my 5. So I have 20 minus 5.
Daisy, when you have a moment, please call 400. Miss Daisy, please call 400.
So in this case, 0 minus 5 is something that we can't do. We get into the negatives, so we'd actually end up with negative 5. But in the algorithm sense, we say, okay, I have 0 ones here, so I'm going to borrow a 10 from here. So now I have 10, and 10 minus 5 is 5, and I'm left with 110, which is a total of 15. But there's other ways to look at this. For example, I could look at adding up, where on a number line, I'm at 5, and I'm asking how far do I have to go to get to 20. So I have to go up 5 to get to 10, and then again a jump of 10 to get to 20, and 5 plus 10 is 15. So that's another way of taking a look at it. Another thing you do is you can count up by 5. So we could go 5, 10, 15, 20. So this is where I start, right? It took me these 3 jumps. So plus 5, and plus 5 to get where I wanted to go. Another method we use is something called friendly tens. So we could look at a question like 19 minus 8. So for 19 minus 8, I might say, well, 19 is really close to 20. So I'm just going to say 20 minus 8. And I know that equals 12, right? But because I rounded that 19 up to 20, I have to actually use that over here. Well, so I'm going to take away 1, and that will give me 11. So in this case, we've used friendly tens. So either way, we're just looking at different methods of getting here. Like for 20 minus 5, I could even do visually. I could say I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 20, and I'm going to take away 5 of these. So if I take away 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm left with 15. So in all cases, when you're asked to do multiple ways, you have a number of different options at your disposal. However, if I ask you to do it one way, you can choose whatever method works best for you. So remember to take advantage of that fact. And then in terms of the last thing to consider when we're looking at our test, when we look at word problems, the big thing I'm looking for is your ideas of how to solve it. So when you're looking at word problems, never leave it blank, right? Attempt a strategy, explain how that strategy works. Even if your answer is wrong, it gives me an idea of where you're thinking, and that's where you can get communication marks. So if you look at these things, take a look at our review, and do some of the practice that's on MathFrog, I think you should be good to go. And if not, feel free to stop by in the morning, and I can cover anything you're not sure about.